Doing taxes is hard. Doing taxes during a pandemic when you might have started a business or picked up a side hustle might even be harder, and it's easy to make mistakes. And making mistakes could have a big effect financially because they could change how much you owe or if you get a refund. But don't worry, we spoke to 2 tax professionals about the common mistake they see side hustlers make and what you can do to fix it. Shania Wilson and Jeffrey Levine both say that big mistakes involve deductions when you're filling out the income and expenses for your side hustle on Schedule C. That's the tax form to report your business income and deductions as a sole proprietor or sole owner of the business. A deduction is an expense that can lower your overall taxable income, so how much of your income gets taxed. So if your annual income is $50,000, and you have $5,000 worth of deductions, your taxable income would be $45,000.
The biggest mistake, honestly, is being scared to deduct, right? People are like, can I deduct this? Can I deduct that? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't think I could. And again, when you're scared, because they think the IRS is like a big scary monster, the IRS is actually super cool. And this is like not me saying this because I'm a CPA, right? I work with individuals from all different income levels, and as long as you are acting in good faith and being honest and you're not doing anything fraudulent, the IRS is typically going to work on your side to resolve your situation. It's also just being aware of what's possible to deduct. And the IRS rules is that you can deduct anything that is both ordinary and necessary, meaning that it's ordinary in the course of your business and that expense was necessary for you to incur, for you to go ahead and operate, right? Which honestly leaves us such a huge window of deductions.
I think the biggest mistake people with side hustles make is that they don't keep track of their expenses. You are entitled to take deductions for the expenses that are related to your business. And unfortunately, either people don't understand what expenses may apply, or they simply don't do a good job keeping track of them. And that could be problematic not only from a reporting perspective, but if the IRS ever audits you in the future, which admittedly today is fairly unlikely given the relatively low audit rates, but you never want to take a chance. You want to have that backup information readily available.
What are examples of deductions someone can take?
Depending upon what sort of side hustle you have, look for easy ways to record things. A lot of people with side hustles drive for their business. And that doesn't mean simply that you're an Uber driver. It could mean that you do some side work as an architect and you drive to the sites to look at the buildings that are being created or to inspect the properties that you're going to be designing for. Those miles driven are business miles and you can use them as a deduction.
The important part of figuring out your deductions is taking a look at your expenses. So let's say you're a small business owner and you own your own Etsy shop. Shania Wilson explains things you could deduct.
Technology fees. Most people who do have Etsy shops may have subscriptions with sites like Canva. You may have a G Drive, a G Suite account for Google so that you can have a professional email. You're paying for web hosting, right? Whether you bought domains or you're paying for a Wix or WordPress subscription, et cetera, et cetera. So honestly, it's really diving into what little expenses go into you running your shop, right? Even down to paid advertisement, that's deductible as well. It's a big one that people who have e-commerce shops fail to deduct is their business use of home, right? So typically, if you are an e-commerce shop owner, you're working from home, just like us right now, right? We can actually legally deduct a portion of our rent expense, utilities, our building maintenance, etc., as a business expense, right? So no, you can't deduct 100%. You can't, send to the IRS, my rent was $2,000 a month, let me deduct that as a business expense. No, that's incorrect. But you can deduct your rent, utilities, etc., in proportion to the square footage you use explicitly only for business. So for example, I have a little home office set up. I can use this square footage, divide that by the total square footage of my entire place, and use that fraction to determine how much I can deduct against my income as business use of home, right? So for example, if the space that I'm working out of is around 1/4 of the total space of my home, I'm gonna deduct the total rent that I pay. So in our example, it's $2,000. So that means that I can deduct $500 a month in home office deduction. So that's for sure a common one that gets overlooked.
But both experts agree. If you have questions about your side hustle taxes, contact a tax professional for help.